Hey, Christian Network Marketers community. I have Cami here, and today we're going to talk about being in agreement with God on all the things and not just some of the things. Cami, thank you so much for sharing, being willing to share with our community here. Let's start off. We have a couple questions. First, how have you seen God working in your network marketing business?
So I'm going to tell you a little story about how we even got started, because to be honest, this is the last thing I pictured myself actually ever doing in my life. And it was really God who brought us to this place. So I'm going to start with John 10:10, one of my favorite verses. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. And I use ESV, which I know you're going to stress out about. That's just my preferred. I feel like most of us really love the second part of that verse, right? I came that they may have life and have it abundantly, but I'm not sure that we really focus on the first part, the thief. So for us, what happened about 4 years ago is the thief actually arrived on our doorstep in the form of a man who wanted to help make our dreams come true. So we have a special needs teenager now, and he used those fears and the long-term, having to take care of our son forever, literally, and the financial burden that comes along with that, as well as putting our other two kids through college. So he manipulated that situation to steal from us and to harm our family. And it was the most devastating experience of our lives. And it actually ended up, literally, the story has a happy ending, but it includes some undercover FBI work from my husband.
Wow.
Puzzle piecing from me to put this together, and knowing the right people to call to get him off the streets. I mean, he was arrested literally right there. My husband set up the meeting, and there were 24 victims when we went to do victim statements. This man had a 20 plus year criminal record, and we honestly gave him our trust. And it's hard. It was like an ego thing, really hard to admit that I put my trust in him. But what God led me through in that time, not just protection, Psalm 91 was huge. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. That is all I could depend on during that time. Once I realized the gravity that was going on, like what was happening before they were able to catch him. And what God led me through in that time is the fact that I had not come into agreement with him for all of the things in my life. And it's crazy. I mean, our son's been very, very ill for a lot of his life. And I handed my son over to God, full trust. But you know what I kept back? I kept back my finances. That was the one thing that I was like, you can't cast your cares. So I would cast them, and then I would be like, I want them back. I want them back. I want to control them. And God really showed me that I needed to stop trusting myself in that and my ability to control what was happening and the outcome for Jeffrey and, all that stuff, and really get into agreement with him about our finances.
Yeah.
And he literally said, you need to do this business. And I was like, what? You're crazy. That's not me. I'm a nurse. I'm not a business person. I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't know anything about this. And he just told me, you need to do this. You need to get into action and make a change, because he said, this is what I heard. Cami, nobody's going to come and save you. And I think what he meant by nobody was a person.
Oh gosh.
Right? Like a person. I was looking for that miracle from the sky, that person to land in my lap and make everything better. And he was like, girl, you got to save yourself. But it wasn't about me. It was about me getting into agreement with him so that his miracles could unfold, because nothing is possible without him. And I needed to trust that. And so we started our business, and it's been incredible to see. I mean, highs and lows for sure. It's not like it's been all like daisies and roses over the past 3 years, but he continues to show me, if I step out in trust and do what he's purposing me to do in that day and that moment and that interaction with people, that the miracles, that's when he's allowed to shine, right? That's when it's all the glory is to him. It's obvious that it was not me, that it was him.
Can you give That's why I wrote all these notes down. What really stood out to me is this: nobody is going to come and save you. And I think that's so interesting. There's one of my favorite authors is Mark Batterson, and he talks about praying like it depends on God and working like it depends on you. And what I hear is this, like, hey, girl, let's go.
Yeah. Like you have to show me. I don't know if show me is the right word, but I feel like God's saying, look, you just can't sit in your house and be like, okay, God, where are you? I prayed my 5 minutes this morning. I read my Bible verses, all good things. All of that is great. But then you actually have to step into whatever it is that God has for you. And my sister I always think of this analogy. She had, a horrible thing happened to her years ago. I'll let her share that with you. But she always talks about how she felt that God originally, that he gives you like a path, you know what I mean? He'll make your path straight. And she said what she found, and I find so true in my life, is that it's more like stepping stones, right? Like he gives you a stepping stone and then you got to take that leap of faith and step. But then he's not going to give you another stepping stone until it's time. You kind of wait, right? And then
God, could you just lay out all the stones like in, Lego Flash, where they laid out the whole path? I don't think I showed you that part.
Yes, yeah. Right? And it's so true. And so I do remind myself in times of difficulty, all right, this is the stepping stone I'm on. Like there are lessons to learn here. God's not ready to lay that out for me yet, because I'm not ready either to believe it or get an agreement with him. And so I just need to stay here. And you can look at that as rank, right? Or you can look at that whatever, right? I'm meant to be here right now. It doesn't mean I'm not doing the things, but I'm learning the lessons in the process. And then he's refining me, right? So that then I'm ready to step on that next stepping stone.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
What is one example, like an actual real example of this happening in your business?
So, for me, I feel like all of my rank advances have been sort of accidental. Like I've wanted them and there's been that desire in my heart, and then I kind of get to working, but then I can't see it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's never going to happen. Like the pressure and the stress. And then all of a sudden when I let go and I'm like, well, God, if this is what you would have for me, right? And that doesn't mean I'm not going out and doing the things and having the conversation, but I sort of let go of understanding how it's going to happen, right? Like that it's like that path is clear to me. I may not have a clear path, or who's going to be my next builder, or who's going to be my next customer, or where that volume is going to come from, or whatever. When I let go of that and I just do the things that I know how to do, the things that I can own, and let God do his miracles and his amazingness, right? Let him be God and let me be me, and just trust in that. And then all of a sudden, there's every time I've rank advanced, there's been a morning I've woken up and I've looked in my back office and I've been like, oh, now I see it. Now I see. You see the puzzles coming together and it's like, wow. And it was so him, not me.
Yeah. So what are the actions? I know you had a kind of a different idea on your practical tip, but is it okay if I kind of redirect that a little?
Of course. Sure.
Okay. So what I think everyone is listening to this thinking, I would like a accidental rank advancement. So if I didn't focus on my rank and I focused on these things instead, what are those things you're referring to?
So being in service all the time. In service of your customers, in service of your family, in service of your community, in service of your team, and being open to your idea, right? Like, I have action plans every day, right? I have my to-do list. I'm an activator, so I have a lot of to-dos that I want to do, but being open to God redirecting that a little bit and saying, oh, this person's come on my heart. They were not on my list of follow-ups today, or this is not my follow-up day, but reaching out anyway, and then being open to the possibilities in that, even if it's just they needed a human. They needed a person, a shoulder to cry on, or somebody to say that they care about them, like even if it's not about the business. And although, yes, my rank advances maybe were accidental, there was a lot of work behind them. It wasn't like I'm sitting in my house going, bring me the volume, right? It was out doing the things, but trusting the outcome to him and not to me understanding how that was all going to come together beautifully. It's like that tapestry. I feel like you were the one that said that tapestry, like the back looks a mess and then you turn it over. Was it you?
No, not me.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Okay. I don't know where I heard it then, but it's like you look at this beautiful tapestry that you can find, you know, wherever, beautiful tapestry. It's absolutely gorgeous. You turn over the other side and it's a hot mess.
Right.
Right. So it's all that weaving and that handiwork that went into that beauty that people don't see. And that's, I think, the same way this business is. You know, it's all that hard work, but then it's so beautiful on the outcome that you have to be willing to turn it over just as much as you're willing to do the stitching from behind the scenes.
Whoa. Cool, because I'll think of like business as this is how the sausage is made, right? It looks like this on this side, and then you get this like perfect thing. I don't know how you feel about sausage, but like
I like sausage. It's just not as beautiful as a tapestry.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and it's not that you turn over, right? I mean, that was just the words around that of you have this like hot mess, and then you turn it over, and you have like the actual turning over is such a amazing piece of imagery there.
And isn't it true for us as humans, that refiner's fire? Aren't we that hot mess? And we just get refined and refined and refined. And then we become this beautiful tapestry. Our life becomes this beautiful tapestry if we allow him to work in us.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for me, that just like hit me kind of hard, right, as more of a public figure. And right, like, and what I have been struggling with lately is knowing the hot mess in the background and like showing up as this other thing and feeling a little bit, what's the word? It's not exactly fraudulent. Maybe you understand what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Like imposter syndrome.
A little bit, but not in my normal.
Vulnerable.
Not the fraud and you're going to find out I don't know what I'm doing, but in this like hot mess is going on back here. I need to show up as this like beacon of hope.
But I'm like freaking out and I don't have much hope for myself right at this moment, but I got to be hope for you.
Yeah, you just summed up my entire life in a nutshell, and this is public. But
I think that's true for any leader.
Sure. Well, that's why that hit me so hard.
Yeah, because if I'm having a really crappy day and I just got 20 no's and my leader calls me and is like, oh, I'm having a terrible day. I can't be like, me too, girl, this business is horrible, right? I have to like curl up my big girl panties and be like, okay, I'm going to put my fear aside and my mess, my stuff that's swirling and making me crazy, and be there for you as your leader. It's just different hats that you wear. And you got to make sure that you don't get sucked into somebody else's mess or suck anybody else into your mess. Because then we're all a mess.
True. Well, but I thought what was so beautiful about that, like, leadership metaphor is it's okay if behind the scenes it's a hot mess, because if we literally turn it over, then it's still beautiful when you show up. And like that's what really stood out to me in that analogy. We have like 2 minutes. You mentioned before, we talked about how you would just call people out of the blue. I'm super awkward. So
you are not. I love how you say that, and you're so not.
No, I mean, we haven't met in person. Just wait for it.
Oh, just wait.
Because you come in. You have showed up in my house. That's different than if I have to like meet an actual human in the world. So you mentioned your outreach. God put someone on your heart, and I say, well, what do you even say? Like, because I would just be like, hi, I'm awkward. So what do you say? I think that would be helpful for the people listening.
I literally tell people that I was thinking about them. Now, if they are a Christian friend, somebody I know that is in this journey, I will say, God put you on my heart. I don't want to freak people out that they may not be their thing, right? So I will just say, I was really thinking about you this morning. How are things going? and just leave it open. And then sometimes they'll say, oh no, everything's good. How are you? And then I will say, oh, just wanted to check in. You know, do you have any needs? Do you have anything that I can do for you? I try to put myself in a place of service. But then what happens 99.9% of the time is they will say, wow, I can't believe you called me today. I was just thinking about this, or this, my husband just said this to me. You know, I have this ache, pain, I mean, whatever it is, right? And then I can put myself in a place of service. Would you like a recommendation from me? Would you like my help? I always want to ask them in permission, because I'm a big problem solver, so I can jump in for unsolicited advice.
That's a great question.
Working hard to not do that. So would you like me to help you? Would you like my assistance? Is there something I can do to help you?
I love that, Cami. That is so, so, so good. I got to go coach here in a minute. So thank you so much. That was so awesome. And you just blew my mind.
Yay, I blew Tasha's mind. You normally hurt mine.
Well, I know. I mean, this will hurt for a while. So you got your payback for sure.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
So I'm going to end the broadcast now. Okay.